1264, 1264. Chapter 1264. The Second Skeleton King. Among Han Yu's group, Huada ranked highest on the combat power list. He was previously ranked 10th but was pushed to 11th by Lin Moyu. However, everyone, including Huada, knew that if it came to a real fight, Han Yu was the most formidable. Huada was at the 4th stage of the God King realm, with combat power infinitely close to the peak of the 5th stage, almost reaching the 6th stage of the God King realm. When he went all out, he could temporarily unleash the power of a 6th stage God King. However, his tendency to get easily agitated and his lack of intelligence affected his combat power. Han Yu was also at the 4th stage of the God King realm, but his strategic mind made his combat abilities surpass Huada's. Huada and Han Yu were the top 2 in their group, with combat power significantly higher than the others. Bai Tianzong asked,
"Boss, can second brother defeat Lin Moyu?"
Previously, they were all instantly killed by Lin Moyu's single sword strike, which almost left a psychological shadow. Instinctively, Bai Tianzong felt that Huadi couldn't defeat Lin Moyu, but he still held a sliver of hope. Han Yu shook his head.
"He can't win, but at least he won't be instantly killed. Maybe we can learn something. If Lin Moyu only has that one move, Huada might be able to hold him off for a while."
Han Yu's eyes sparkled with anticipation. Lin Moyu had only shown one move so far. Han Yu hoped to gather more information to have a better chance of competing with Lin Moyu. Although the odds of winning were slim, as a genius, Han Yu had his pride and wouldn't easily admit defeat. Huada's temper was volatile, but his combat power was undeniable. His agitation stemmed from his soul being influenced by the fire laws during his cultivation. This issue could be resolved once Huada reached the God-sovereign realm. When his soul entered the Law Star River and was cleansed, he would naturally recover. Everything has two sides. While his soul was affected, Huada's combat power also increased. He even cultivated into a postnatal fire spirit body. His physical strength greatly increased, and he became extremely close to the fire laws. Han Yu believed that Huada might really force Lin Moyu to reveal more of his strength. In the arena, the battle began. A wave of flames enveloped the stage, and Huada also unfolded his law domain. Unfolding the law domain was almost a standard opening move for all God Kings, without exception. Flames covered Huada's entire body, forming armor. Huada's body rapidly grew larger within the flames, becoming more robust. In an instant, he transformed into a 3-meter-tall giant, like a fire god descending to the world. A pair of flaming gauntlets appeared in his hands, and when he clashed his fists together, an even more astonishing aura erupted. Flames soared into the sky, layer upon layer, and the flame armor became even stronger, almost solidifying. Rationality gradually disappeared from Huada's eyes, replaced by intense battle intent. His eyes were fixed solely on Lin Moyu. In this state, he could unleash incredible power, temporarily reaching the combat power of a 6th-stage God King. He went all out from the start. This was Han Yu's instruction. Go all out from the beginning without holding back. Against an opponent like Lin Moyu, whose depth was unknown, there was no need to hold back. Huada followed the instruction, roaring as he charged at Lin Moyu. His eyes were fixed solely on Lin Moyu, even ignoring the Skeleton King that had appeared above him. The 1,000-meter-tall Skeleton King swung a sword at Huada. The sword light exploded, shattering the flame armor and engulfing the stage in flames. However, this time, the sword light didn't instantly kill Huada after shattering the armor. In the next second, the flames surged back, and the armor was restored. From the start of the challenge, this was the first time the Skeleton King hadn't instantly killed its opponent.
Interesting.
Lin Moyu smiled slightly, quickly retreating and flying diagonally into the air. Huada, engulfed in flames, appeared where Lin Moyu had been, his flaming fists smashing into the ground. Like a volcanic eruption, flames shot into the sky. Huada charged into the flames, which transformed into wings behind him, granting him incredible speed as he pursued Lin Moyu. The Skeleton King flew over, blocking Lin Moyu. but was knocked aside by Huoda. Huoda's size was disproportionate to the Skeleton King, but he still managed to knock the Skeleton King away, creating a strong sense of contrast. Han Yu smiled as he watched from below.
Finally, some movement. The Skeleton King couldn't instantly kill Huoda and was knocked away. Let's see what other moves you have.
From the start of the battle, Lin Moyu hadn't moved a step. Now he finally moved, and the Skeleton King couldn't stop Huoda. Clearly, if Lin Moyu had no other moves, he would be relentlessly pursued by Huoda. Once Huoda started fighting, he wouldn't stop until his opponent was defeated. After a brief exchange, Lin Moyu had already assessed Huoda's strength. His expression remained calm, showing no signs of panic. He had only summoned a 1,000-meter-tall Skeleton King, which gathered the power of 1,000,000 skeletons. The combat power of a 1,000-meter-tall Skeleton King was only at the 5th stage of the God King realm. Compared to the enraged Huoda, it was indeed slightly weaker. Since that was the case, he would just add more power. Lin Moyu lightly tapped his finger, and another burning Skeleton King throne appeared above him. This time, the throne was noticeably larger, and the Skeleton King on it was also much bigger. The new Skeleton King slowly stood up, reaching a height of 3,000 meters. This time, it was a Skeleton King formed by the power of 3,000,000 skeletons, with combat power reaching the 6th stage of the God King realm. Han Yu's pupils contracted sharply. The second Skeleton King was even larger and stronger. He realized that Lin Moyu could summon more than one Skeleton King, and the previous Skeleton King wasn't the strongest. Now Lin Moyu was using more power, enhancing the spell's strength.
He wasn't using his full strength before.
Han Yu was greatly shaken, then felt a bit disheartened. Lin Moyu still hadn't revealed his trump card. The new Skeleton King locked onto Huoda and swung the god-slaying sword. The sword light shone, completely shattering the flame armor on Huoda. The sword light didn't disappear and continued to fall on Huoda. Huoda's physical body was extremely strong, and he screamed in pain within the sword light but didn't die. Huge wounds appeared on his body, bleeding profusely. In the Human Emperor network, everything simulated reality. Huoda could feel the pain, but the pain only increased his combat power. He became even more enraged and crazed, ignoring the visible bone-deep wounds and the fountain-like blood, relying on his strong physique to charge at Lin Moyu again. Huoda transformed into flames, like a burning star, crashing towards Lin Moyu. As he approached Lin Moyu, he was suddenly enveloped by a massive shadow. The 3,000-meter-tall Skeleton King blocked his path, and his size was only as big as the Skeleton King's little finger. This time, he couldn't knock the Skeleton King away. The Skeleton King, with immense power, swatted him away like a fly. Huoda was uncontrollably sent flying. The flames around him scattered. In terms of strength, the Skeleton King completely overpowered him. At this moment, the other 1,000-meter-tall Skeleton King arrived, raising its hand for another sword strike. It was still the god-slaying sword, without any extra moves. The bright sword light rose, and Huoda exploded into flames, scattering across the stage. 1265 1265 Chapter 1265. Actually, my strongest ability is defense. Huoda was defeated, but compared to the previous challengers, he fared much better. At least he wasn't instantly killed and even forced Lin Moyu to retreat temporarily. At that moment, Huoda proved his strength, but he also validated the accuracy of the Human Emperor network. Lin Moyu summoned an even more powerful skeleton, cleanly and efficiently defeating Huoda, the God King. When Huoda emerged from the small room, his eyes did not show any disappointment. It seemed he didn't care much about winning or losing, or perhaps he had already anticipated his defeat. Surprisingly, he nodded towards Lin Moyu, acknowledging him. He no longer had any objections to Lin Moyu replacing him in the top 10 of the combat power list. Huoda returned to Han Yu's side and said in a low voice,
I lost. That guy is ridiculously strong, and he hasn't even used his full strength.
Huoda had a hot temper but wasn't stupid. Having fought Lin Moyu, He had the most authority to speak on the matter. Han Yu know that.
I can see that. Losing was inevitable. I just didn't want to lose too badly.
Buddha grinned.
It's been a long time since I had such a satisfying fight. It felt pretty good.
Han Yu chuckled.
It's my turn now.
With that, he left the group and walked towards Lin Moyu. When he reached the small room, Han Yu didn't enter. Instead, he spoke to Lin Moyu.
Junior brother Lin, I want to see your full strength.
His tone was calm, neither humble nor arrogant, sounding both like a request and a demand. Lin Moyu shook his head.
Not here.
Lin Moyu didn't directly refuse but said it couldn't be done here. The key phrase was,
not here.
Referring to the Human Emperor Network. Couldn't be done in the Human Emperor Network. This indicated that Lin Moyu's strongest combat power wasn't the Skeleton King but something that couldn't be used in the Human Emperor Network. Han Yu speculated it might be a powerful magical treasure. Han Yu couldn't guess that Lin Moyu wasn't referring to a magical treasure but his original spell. The Human Emperor Network couldn't handle stellar-level original spells and couldn't simulate them. Previously, the Human Emperor Network could simulate original spells before they reached the stellar level. But now it couldn't. Lin Moyu had already tried. As soon as he entered the Human Emperor Network arena, his original spell was blocked and couldn't be sensed. The essence of the original spell was too strong, exceeding the limits of the Human Emperor Network. Han Yu looked at Lin Moyu without disappointment. The fact that Lin Moyu was willing to tell him this much was already good. He pondered for a few seconds and sighed.
With your strength, you should be ranked higher than 10th.
Lin Moyu chuckled.
The rankings should be updated soon.
This time, he had displayed his full strength in Area 7 to 77, all under the Human Emperor Network's observation. The Human Emperor Network must have recorded his strongest combat power, and the combat power list would be updated soon. Lin Moyu guessed that the rankings would be updated once the mission rewards were issued. The two entered the small room, and the challenge began quickly. Although Han Yu knew he would lose, he wouldn't give up. When the countdown ended, Han Yu was covered in ice, which rapidly expanded to envelop the entire arena. Lin Moyu felt a chill, and white vapor emanated from his body. In an instant, his body was frozen into an ice pillar, unable to move. Han Yu didn't use his law domain or defend. He chose to attack. Using conventional tactics would guarantee defeat. To deal with Lin Moyu, he had to take a different approach. He judged that Lin Moyu's spells were strong, but Lin Moyu himself was only at the 6th stage of True God. He could completely eliminate Lin Moyu before he could cast his spells, not giving him a chance to use them. Lin Moyu was frozen, unable to move, and Han Yu smiled slightly. His hands moved like playing a piano, and countless ice arrows appeared around Lin Moyu. The law-formed ice arrows shot towards Lin Moyu from all directions. This attack reached the level of a 5th-stage God King. Even a 4th-stage God King would be severely injured if they took it head-on. Lin Moyu, frozen in the ice, couldn't move. Just before the ice arrows reached him, the ice pillar shattered, exposing Lin Moyu to the ice arrows. The ice law on the arrows became violent, giving Lin Moyu no chance to dodge, and they struck him. The arrows exploded, creating layers of white vapor that covered the sky and engulfed Lin Moyu. Outsiders couldn't see, but as the master of the ice, Han Yu could sense Lin Moyu's position. At this moment, Han Yu's law domain fully unfolded, covering the entire arena, turning it into a pure white ice world. Countless ice arrows fell from the sky, emerged from the ground, or appeared out of thin air, making one's scalp tingle. The audience cheered for Han Yu's attack, which seemed to leave Lin Moyu defenseless. It looked like Han Yu had the upper hand. But in the arena, Han Yu frowned deeply. He had unleashed his strongest attack, and if he were to win, he should have already won. But the battle continued, indicating that Lin Moyu hadn't been defeated. At this moment, Lin Moyu's voice slowly echoed.
I forgot to tell you, my strongest ability is defense.
Han Yu's eyes showed disbelief. Lin Moyu's spell attacks were already astonishing, and cultivators often focused on one aspect. Of course, he believed Lin Moyu's defense wouldn't be weak, but to say it was stronger than his attack seemed exaggerated. The audience couldn't hear Lin Moyu's voice, but they saw Han Yu's sudden change in expression, realizing something was amiss. In the pure white ice world, Lin Moyu walked out step by step, enduring the violent ice arrows. When his figure appeared before Han Yu had to believe Lin Moyu's words. The ice arrows struck Lin Moyu, but an invisible force blocked them, shattering them. It seemed like they hit Lin Moyu, but they didn't cause any harm. All attacks were weakened by 40,000 times and then shared by all the undead. A fifth-stage God King's attack was not a big deal for Lin Moyu. The battle intent in Han Yu's eyes gradually faded. He had given his all, but against an opponent like Lin Moyu, he had no chance of winning. Lin Moyu smiled.
I can show you my strongest combat power in the Human Emperor Network.
With a snap of his fingers, a magnificent, enormous, and exquisite Skeleton King throne appeared out of thin air. The Skeleton King rose from the throne, standing 10,000 meters tall. This was the strongest Skeleton King Lin Moyu could summon without using his original spell. The Skeleton King had the combat power of a 7th-stage God King, and when using the God-slaying sword, it could unleash an attack close to the 8th stage of the God King realm. Looking at the 10,000-meter-tall Skeleton King, Han Yu calmly said,
Thank you. You're welcome.
The Skeleton King swung its massive bone sword, and the sword light exploded on Han Yu, completely engulfing him. Han Yu's consciousness returned to the small room, and he muttered to himself,
So this is what it feels like to be instantly killed. It's not painful, seems okay.
He pushed open the small room door but didn't see Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu hadn't come out yet, and Han Yu was puzzled.
What's he doing?
At this moment, Lin Moyu received a message from the Human Emperor Network. Battlefield mission completed. Intercept and harass the demon army. Rewards are being issued. 1,266 1,266. Chapter 1266. Generous rewards. First on the combat power list. Lin Moyu stood quietly in the small room, which was pitch black, so dark that he couldn't see his hand in front of his face. However, his eyes sparkled with a bright light. The notification sound from the Human Emperor Network was music to his ears.
It's finally here.
The task had been completed for some time, and the rewards had not yet been issued. In fact, this task was completed under the full monitoring of the Human Emperor Network, so it shouldn't have taken this long. Moreover, because of the monitoring, there was no need to go to the task center for handover. Lin Moyu guessed that the delay was due to the temporary connection, and the power of the Human Emperor Network was relatively weak, requiring further verification and calculation at many stages, causing the delay. Now, the task rewards had finally arrived, and Lin Moyu's attention was focused on the rewards. Battlefield task completed. Intercept and harass the demon army. Completion. Perfect. Reward. 50,000 task points. 5 million extra consumption points. Special task completed. Find the military star map. Defeat the demon army. Completion. Perfect. Reward. 50,000 task points. 10,000 military merits, 1 contribution point, 1 military supply point. Although there were no substantial rewards like magical treasures, these 2 rewards were already good enough. Combining the 2 tasks, the task points alone amounted to 100,000. Compared to those tasks that rewarded only a few thousand or 10,000 task points, this was much better. To upgrade from level 4 permissions to level 5 permissions, 1 million points were needed. Others would need to complete hundreds of tasks to achieve this. Lin Moyu completed 1/10 of it with just 2 tasks, an efficiency that was ridiculously high. However, Lin Moyu also understood that this was because his performance in the tasks was outstanding, different from others. Those cultivators who also participated in the demon interception task probably only received a few thousand points, at most 10,000. As for the 5 million consumption points, Lin Moyu didn't feel much about it. He had just spent 100 million, and he would likely spend a lot more in the future. 8 challenges had earned him 80 million. Lin Moyu felt that he was dealing in tens of millions at a time, so 5 million was nothing. Aside from the points, the 10,000 military merits were also very good, directly promoting him by 1 rank. Lin Moyu's total military merits exceeded 40,000, making him a 4th rank officer. A 4th rank officer at the True God realm was very rare. Besides that, military merits currently had no significant use for Lin Moyu. Military merits could be used to purchase many good things, but he didn't care for the inferior items, and the good items required far more military merits and a higher rank. So, he would accumulate military merits for future use. The 1 contribution point and 1 military supply point were both valuable, and obtaining them was not easy, with very few available. Contribution points would likely have great use in the future. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a separate ranking for them, creating a contribution list. Military supply points would also be more valuable when used at a higher realm. The rewards were essentially investments for the future, with no immediate use. But Lin Moyu understood that even without the rewards, he couldn't have refused Zhu Qiwu's request at the time. Since that was the case, these rewards were just icing on the cake. At this moment, he received another notification from the Human Emperor Network, indicating that his battle with Han Yu had ended, earning him 10 million points. Lin Moyu, in a pleasant mood, opened the door and walked out of the small room, simultaneously opening the rankings of the Vermilion Bird Star domain. Unsurprisingly, he was still first on the potential list. Lin Moyu knew that as long as he didn't advance to level 5 permissions, the top spot on the Vermilion Bird Star domain potential list would remain his unshakable. After the potential list, he checked the contribution list of the Vermilion Bird Star domain. He now had 4 contribution points but was still ranked 2nd, not advancing to 1st place. This indicated that the person ranked 1st had at least 4 contribution points, possibly more. Lin Moyu wasn't disappointed by this. Contribution points were hard to obtain but not impossible. He had mostly obtained contribution points by chance, while those from established families likely had their methods. They would analyze which tasks could earn contribution points and focus on those tasks to earn the points. As for himself, he could only rely on luck. Closing the contribution list, he continued to check the last list. The combat power list of the Vermilion Bird Star domain, as he expected, had been updated. When he opened the combat power list and saw his name at the top, Lin Moyu showed a knowing smile. During the task, he had displayed combat power comparable to the peak of the God King realm, and it was recorded by the Human Emperor Network. It was no surprise that the Human Emperor Network placed him at the top of the combat power list. Lin Moyu thought to himself,
I wonder if anyone will come to challenge me. If they do, and the stakes are the same, I might make a fortune. Now I have almost 200 million points, so 1/10 would be 20 million. That's a good idea.
Lin Moyu was confident that even without using his original spells in the Human Emperor Network, he wouldn't fear any challenge with the Skeleton King. Outside the small room, Han Yu hadn't left. He looked at Lin Moyu with a complicated expression. Lin Moyu asked curiously,
What's wrong?
He had stayed in the small room for a while, thinking Han Yu and the others would have left, but they were still waiting. Han Yu said in a low voice,
The combat power list has been updated.
Lin Moyu nodded.
I know.
Han Yu asked,
How did you know the combat power list would be updated?
His question implied that if he had known Lin Moyu would be first on the combat power list, he wouldn't have challenged him. The Human Emperor Network might make mistakes, but not such significant ones. Lin Moyu shook his head.
I can't explain that in detail.
Some things were inconvenient to say, especially the special tasks, which were his secret. Han Yu understood and didn't press further. He just couldn't help but ask. Lin Moyu changed the subject.
Are you familiar with the top 3 on the combat power list?
Han Yu luked plötsligt.
Not very familiar, why?
Lin Moyu said,
You've seen my combat power. If they are dissatisfied, they can come to challenge me. I won't charge a challenge fee. We'll use the same stakes as we did. Let them prepare their points first.
Han Yu finally understood what Lin Moyu intended to do, and it was highly likely to succeed. Based on his understanding of those people, they wouldn't be convinced and would likely come to challenge Lin Moyu. But the stakes were too high. Han Yu quickly calculated that Lin Moyu now had nearly 200 million points. If they challenged him, losing once would cost them 20 million points. 20 million points was a significant amount for anyone. Han Yu looked deeply at Lin Moyu, who appeared gentle, young, and handsome, with an innocent demeanor.
If they ask me, I'll tell them the truth.
Han Yu had his principles and wouldn't lie. He would speak objectively. But that was enough. 1267, 1267. Chapter 1267. The Rolling Power of Faith. The challenge ended with Lin Moyu's complete victory. The 8 people led by Han Yu, all veteran God King realm powerhouses on the combat power list, had no resistance. Except for Huoda and Han Yu, all were instantly killed. Lin Moyu displayed astonishing combat power, with his powerful skeletons leaving a deep impression. After the battle, the discussions in the audience never ceased. Even after Lin Moyu and Han Yu left, the discussions continued.
How can Lin Moyu be so strong? Han Yu and Huoda are ranked just a bit below him, but they were completely crushed. I feel like Lin Moyu's combat power should be ranked higher than 10th. The Human Emperor Network definitely made a mistake. Lin Moyu's ranking isn't too high, it's too low. Even ranking in the top 3 wouldn't be a problem. Haha, go check the combat power list again. The list has just been updated, and Lin Moyu is now ranked first. No way, first place.
The scene erupted again, and everyone opened the combat power list, indeed seeing Lin Moyu's name at the top. Zhang Ziyue gritted his teeth, his expression becoming extremely complicated. He also opened the combat power list, staring intently at Lin Moyu's name. In his complex gaze, there seemed to be a trace of fear and a trace of relief.
He's actually ranked first on the combat power list. Was it because the list hadn't been updated before? How could it be such a coincidence?
At this moment, Zhang Ziyue no longer had any thoughts of competing with Lin Moyu. It was simply impossible to compete. Now, he just hoped that Lin Moyu would quickly advance to level 5 permissions and leave the Vermilion Bird Star domains list. On the other side, Han Yu and his group left the arena. Bai Tianzong looked extremely depressed.
This time, we've really lost everything.
Han Vu Loghead.
Blame yourself for being blind, encountering such a monster.
Han Iu Huklid.
A loss is a loss. Losing money is one thing, but we've also witnessed what a true top-tier genius is like. It keeps us from becoming too arrogant.
Bai Tianzong gritted his teeth, still heartbroken over his points.
How can this guy be so strong? Han Yu, when you were in the arena, Lin Moyu seemed to have said something to you. What did he say?
Han Iu replied.
He told me that his strongest ability isn't his attack, but his defense.
The group fell silent. If his attack was already this strong, how strong must his defense be? Han Yu continued.
The last skeleton he summoned, the one that was 10,000 meters tall, had an attack power at the 7th stage of the God King realm. If he wasn't exaggerating, his defense should exceed the 7th stage of the God King realm, reaching the 8th stage. And this isn't his strongest combat power. His strongest ability can't be used in the Human Emperor Network. I suspect it's some kind of powerful magical treasure.
Han Wu asked.
If that's the case, it's not surprising that he can rank first on the combat power list.
Bai Tianzong seemed to think of something amusing, a smile appearing on his face, and the pain in his eyes lessened.
Boss, do you think those guys will come to challenge Lin Moyu?
Han Iu smiled.
They probably will.
Bai Tianzong clapped his hands heavily.
This will be interesting. Those guys always act like they're the best. I really want to see them get beaten up.
On the other side, Lin Moyu also left the arena and headed to the mission center. He had already chosen his next mission, and now that the previous mission was completed, he could accept a new one. This would be the 4th of the 5 battlefield missions. On the way, he could feel the continuous influx of the power of faith from the void. Strands and threads of the power of faith gathered into rivers, lakes, and seas. Many of the power of faith didn't come from the Starry Sky Fortress but from the human star domain. Since reaching first place on the combat power list, the power of faith had increased significantly, much more than when he was first on the potential list. It seemed that more people paid attention to the combat power list than the potential list. This wasn't surprising. Humans also worship strong individuals. The combat power list represented actual combat strength, while the potential list only represented future potential. Many so-called geniuses on the potential list eventually either exhausted their potential or died prematurely. Only the combat power list belonged to the world of true powerhouses. Lin Moyu reaching first place on the combat power list meant he truly possessed great strength, naturally attracting a lot of power of faith.
First on all three lists, now only the contribution list is left. According to senior brother Zhuang Bai, if I can reach first on all three lists, there will be an extra reward. I wonder what the reward will be. In any case, I must get first on all three lists. But contribution points are hard to earn.
Lin Moyu didn't know which mission could earn him contribution points, so he could only rely on luck. Along the way, he received countless gazes. Lin Moyu had become completely famous. A single challenge match had made over 150,000 cultivators on the battlefield recognize this rising human star. Lin Moyu neither flaunted nor hid his fame, accepting it calmly. Entering the mission center, he followed the rules and waited in line for a moment before reaching a mission platform. He operated the mission platform and accepted a new mission. Battlefield mission. Explore the ancient tomb. Located in Area 7 to 10, there is an ancient tomb. Explore its mysteries. Restriction. Only those below the 4th stage of the God King realm can enter. Completion condition. In the depths of the tomb, there are stones soaked in the aura of death. Bring back at least one stone. Mission reward, 10,000 points, with additional rewards based on the value of the items brought back. Note, the ancient tomb appeared 10,000 years ago and has never disappeared since. Unlike other chaotic areas, it remains stable. It is said that an ancient powerhouse is buried in the deepest part of the tomb, or it may be connected to an ancient world. The danger level is moderate, so please be cautious. Reminder, you can set a teleportation coordinate outside the tomb. If there is danger, you can use a teleportation talisman to escape. Lin Moyu carefully reviewed the mission information and then used the Human Emperor network to look up specific information about the ancient tomb in Area 7 to 10. However, the information provided by the Human Emperor network was not comprehensive, far less detailed than the information Zhu Qiwu had. But he just wanted a general understanding, which was sufficient. The danger level of this mission was rated as moderate. All chaotic areas had their danger levels assessed. A moderate danger level indicated that God Kings had either fallen or gone missing there. Additionally, the ancient tomb had a realm restriction, suggesting that even 4th stage God Kings might have died inside. This was why there was an extra reminder to use teleportation talismans. Lin Moyu had plenty of these short-distance personal teleportation talismans. He hadn't bought them himself but had acquired them from others' legacies. The usage was simple. Set a teleportation coordinate, and as long as the distance didn't exceed the talisman's limit, he could instantly return, similar to using a teleportation array. However, they couldn't be used in restricted spaces or over long distances. The maximum teleportation distance was usually no more than 10 million kilometers, making it a short-distance teleportation tool. The information stated that the ancient tomb wasn't large, and as long as he didn't go too deep, the teleportation talisman would be sufficient for escape. 1268. Chapter 1268. Some things I must say. The power of faith grew increasingly abundant, transforming from mere trickles into streams and rivers, eventually becoming surging torrents. More and more people began to notice the changes in the combat power rankings. Not long after, Lin Moyu's ranking rose again, leaping from 10th place to 1st place. Felt miraculous. People usually cultivate step by step, advancing their combat power incrementally with each breakthrough. Sometimes, obtaining powerful magical treasures can also boost combat power. Such increases in combat power can be significant, sometimes jumping several ranks. But Lin Moyu's rise wasn't just a jump. It was a leap. First, he leaped from 35th place to 10th place, and then from 10th place to 1st place, which was simply unbelievable. Lin Moyu's rise seemed limitless, constantly astonishing people and breaking their conventional thinking. While people marveled, countless others began to idolize Lin Moyu, worshipping him blindly. Their admiration transformed into the power of faith, which flowed towards Lin Moyu like a mighty river. The power of faith transcended spatial limitations, crossing the mysterious void, and was refined by Lin Moyu, leaving only the purest essence. The power of faith is a double-edged sword. It has significant benefits and is considered one of the fundamental forces by the human race. However, it also has considerable side effects. With the blessing of the power of faith, Lin Moyu felt his thoughts becoming more agile and clear, making it easier to comprehend the laws. Many questions that puzzled him could be answered with just a little thought. Many unclear aspects could be quickly understood with the help of the power of faith. The power of faith felt like countless people were helping him think and comprehend the laws together. Lin Moyu stood outside the mission center for several minutes, seemingly understanding the basic function of the power of faith. In the small world, he had already experienced the effects of the power of faith, which enhanced his comprehension of the laws. But at that time, the power of faith was relatively scarce, and its effects were not as clear as they were now. Lin Moyu felt his mastery of the laws had improved again. According to the data, the mastery of the laws for a 7th-stage true god is between 22% and 23%. With the help of the power of faith, his mastery of the laws reached 23%. If he could reach 24%, he would become an 8th-stage true god. His soul seemed to have touched the bottleneck of the 8th stage of the true god realm. As long as he put in a bit more effort, breaking through this bottleneck wouldn't be difficult. But Lin Moyu stopped. Recently, he had been breaking through continuously, especially the last 2 times, which were achieved by absorbing the souls of enemies through his original spell. The rapid pace of breakthroughs had left his foundation somewhat unstable. His comprehension of the laws felt force-fed, and he needed some time to digest it.
First, complete the missions and strive to be first on all 3 lists. With the original spell and the power of faith, advancing in realm won't be difficult.
Lin Moyu made up his mind and walked towards the teleportation array. In the teleportation array area of the Starry Sky Fortress, 100 teleportation arrays were neatly arranged in rows. The teleportation arrays constantly lit up, with cultivators either leaving or arriving. People came and went, making the area extremely lively. Among them, one person walked out of the teleportation array accompanied by a flash of light. Lin Moyu's eyes narrowed slightly, and he took the initiative to approach and greet the person.
Senior He.
Although He Wrenching had changed his appearance, his clothing and aura remained the same. Moreover, his body was not a real body but one refined from various rare materials, combined with a peculiar and incomplete soul. Lin Moyu recognized him at a glance. He Wrenching was initially surprised, not expecting anyone to recognize him. Upon seeing Lin Moyu, he couldn't help but smile.
It's you, Lin.
Lin Moyu nodded.
Senior He, if you have time, may I treat you to a meal?
He Wrenching didn't know what Lin Moyu wanted, but seeing Lin Moyu's sincere demeanor, he didn't refuse and agreed. In a refined restaurant in the living area, Lin Moyu booked a private room and ordered several specialty dishes. On the battlefield, one could taste things not available in the human star domain. Although the prices were high and cultivators didn't care much about food, the deliciousness still attracted many people. He Wrenching didn't stand on ceremony and started eating directly. The delicious food exploded in his mouth, and the special aroma swept through his body, seemingly stirring the laws. He Wrenching closed his eyes, appearing to enjoy the moment. After a dozen seconds, he sighed.
It's been a long time since I had such delicious food.
At the God-sovereign realm, one could have anything they wanted. But the higher the realm, the less they needed such physical desires. When He Renqing said it had been a long time, it was likely over 100 years. Lin Moyu watched He Renqing without any impatience. This time, he invited He Renqing with his own intentions. He Renqing seemed to be reminiscing about the past. After a long time, he came back to his senses and slowly said,
Lin, you came to see me for something, didn't you?
His voice was slightly old, not matching his current middle-aged appearance. Perhaps he had experienced too much, and besides the old tone, there was a sense of desolation in his voice. His body was a minor issue, but his soul was only 1/3 intact. Unless he had a heaven-defying opportunity, it would be difficult for him to make any progress in the future. For the rest of his days, he would find a place to hide and live out his remaining years. Having once reached the God-sovereign realm and now fallen back, the feeling was unimaginable. Lin Moyu slowly stood up and raised his glass.
This toast is for you, senior.
He Renqing was slightly taken aback but also smiled and raised his glass. A toast represented respect. After 3 toasts, Lin Moyu slowly said,
I know you might be puzzled, but it doesn't matter. I just have some things I need to say. How others view your actions, I don't know, and I don't care. In my opinion, you have done your best. When you were at the true God realm, being controlled by the bewitching demon was not your intention. Later, when you reached the God-sovereign realm, you did everything you could to make amends, not just for yourself but also for the human race. If you had really given up and handed the military star map directly to the demons, although you still couldn't escape control, your life would have been much easier than it is now. If I'm not mistaken, you must have killed many people over the years, those who were controlled by the bewitching demon along with you at the true God realm. Most of them were probably killed by you.
Lin Moyu spoke sincerely, word by word. He Renqing's expression turned serious, and he drank cup after cup of wine. He could see that Lin Moyu was sincere, and these were indeed Lin Moyu's heartfelt words. At that time, with Zhu Qiwu present, Lin Moyu couldn't say these things. After all, his words could only represent his own thoughts, not those of the human race's high-level officials. Different positions led to different perspectives. This time, they happened to meet, and Lin Moyu couldn't hold back his words. Since He Renqing had been given a new identity and allowed to leave the battlefield, it meant he had passed the initial examination by the human race. He had truly broken free from the bewitching demon's control. After Lin Moyu finished speaking, He Renqing put down his glass, his old heart filled with gratitude, and he laughed heartily.
Thank you, Lin.
No more words were needed. A simple thank you was enough to express all of He Renqing's gratitude. At this moment, Lin Moyu opened his palm, and a vast power of laws gathered in his hand. 1269, 1269. Chapter 1269. Information on the strange star. The gray and white laws formed a gas mass, gathering in Lin Moyu's palm. The laws became increasingly dense, gradually solidifying into a gray and white gas mass. The gas mass became denser and began to solidify. He Renqing watched quietly, his brows gradually furrowing. He seemed to have seen a similar gray and white gas mass somewhere before. Lin Moyu continued to condense the undying law, gathering more and more of it, until the law completely solidified like a gemstone. At this moment, the law suddenly changed. The gray part quickly turned white, and the balance was broken in an instant. The gemstone buzzed and seemed to become unstable, but under Lin Moyu's control, it eventually stabilized. A few minutes later, a white sphere appeared in Lin Moyu's palm, crystal clear and beautiful like jade. The sphere emitted a dense aura of laws, giving off a vibrant feeling. At the very center of the white sphere, there was a small gray dot, very inconspicuous. The undying law controls life and death, possessing both aspects. Although Lin Moyu forcibly converted all the power of death into the power of life, there was still a trace of death that could not be erased. Life contains death, and death contains life. This is the characteristic of the undying law, difficult to change. Lin Moyu's forehead was slightly sweaty. Solidifying the law was not easy for him. This was only possible because his soul power was strong enough. If it were another cultivator, it would be impossible to solidify the law at the 7th stage of true God. Generally, it would require reaching the God King realm. After solidifying the law, Lin Moyu took out a jade box and placed the solidified law inside. The jade box could extend the preservation time of the solidified law. Lin Moyu handed the jade box to He Renqing.
Senior He, this is for you.
He Renqing asked in confusion.
What is this for?
Lin Moyu smiled mysteriously.
This is my law. Try absorbing a bit.
He Renqing didn't think Lin Moyu had any ulterior motives and immediately took a breath. A trace of pure white law entered his body like a fine thread and quickly entered his soul world. He Renqing's soul immediately felt a sense of comfort, like soaking in a hot spring, incredibly soothing. He was surprised to feel that his soul seemed to have recovered a bit. His soul was only 1/3 of its original state. Strictly speaking, it was severely damaged. If he weren't a god sovereign, such severe soul damage would have killed him long ago. Soul injuries are the hardest to heal, and he had given up hope. But now, Lin Moyu's law. He looked at the jade box in front of him with amazement. The jade box contained the pure white gemstone. This was simply a life-saving elixir for him, giving him hope for recovery. He then looked up at Lin Moyu, speechless for a long time. Lin Moyu smiled slightly.
It seems effective. You can slowly absorb it, and your soul might be repaired. I don't know where you are going, but if you run out of this law, you can come to me, and I'll find a way to send more to you.
Once the law is condensed, it cannot be preserved for long. So making more wouldn't be useful. Perhaps by the time this law is fully absorbed, He Renqing might have already recovered. He Renqing asked.
Why?
Lin Moyu smiled.
As I said before, I act according to my conscience. Regardless of how others see it, I believe you did nothing wrong. You made the best choice in the worst situation. Even looking at the results, because of your choice, millions of demons died, didn't they?
He Renqing sighed deeply, putting away the jade box.
Actually, the demons' losses weren't as heavy as you said.
Lin Moyu didn't understand for a moment, but the next second, he realized why He Renqing said that.
You mean their avatars, right?
He Renqing nodded. He could see that Lin Moyu was very smart, so he didn't need to explain everything in detail. Just a hint was enough for Lin Moyu to understand. Most demons have avatars. Generally, god sovereigns have 2 avatars, and god kings and true gods also have 1 avatar each. When they act, demons usually send their avatars. If an avatar dies, it doesn't matter. They can spend some time and materials to cultivate another one. As long as the main body is alive, they can always create more avatars. But if the main body dies, then everything is lost. He Renqing said,
The number of demons is not as large as the human race, but because they have avatars, their losses in each war are minimal. This is also one of their terrifying aspects.
Lin Moyu nodded.
So most of the ones who died this time were avatars.
He Renqing nodded.
99% were avatars, very few were main bodies.
Lin Moyu smiled, not minding.
It doesn't matter. In the future, when I have the chance to invade the demon's homeland, I'll kill both avatars and main bodies.
He Renqing knew Lin Moyu was joking and didn't point it out. Lin Moyu took a sip of wine and asked,
Senior He, where are you going next?
He couldn't stay on the battlefield any longer, nor in the Vermilion Bird Star domain. He would likely go to a distant star domain, and the Human Emperor Network would monitor all his actions. For those who have done things harmful to the human race, even if it wasn't their own will, strict management is necessary. The human race's approach is understandable. With so many people, it's better to be safe than sorry. He Renqing said,
I don't know yet. Actually, it doesn't matter where I go. I just want to find a place to live out my remaining years.
Lin Moyu smiled but didn't know how to comfort him. After chatting for a while, they left the restaurant together. As they were parting, He Renqing suddenly remembered something.
I recall seeing a gray and white star once, called a strange star.
Lin Moyu raised an eyebrow.
Where did you see it?
He had seen the strange star on the star map of the Great World. There were 3 strange stars in the human race's territory. The White Tiger Star Domain and the Black Tortoise Star Domain each had 1 strange star, and there was 1 in the central Divine City. Lin Moyu didn't know if the one he Renshing saw was the one in the Vermilion Bird Star Domain. If it was, then it wouldn't be useful. He Renshing said,
On the battlefield, let me think, it was a long time ago.
His soul injury had affected his memory. He had forgotten many things, only remembering some important ones. Lin Moyu wasn't in a hurry and waited for several minutes. Finally, he Renshing said,
I remember, it was in Area 8 to 88. There was a strange star there. I'm sure of it.
He Renshing was pleased to remember this. Lin Moyu noted down Area 8 to 88 and planned to look up related information later. But for now, he didn't want to advance his realm. He needed time to digest what he had gained, so he wasn't in a hurry.
Thank you, Senior He.
Lin Moyu thanked He Renshing. He Renshing shook his head.
If anyone should be thanking, it's me thanking you.
After bidding farewell to He Renshing, Lin Moyu took the teleportation array to Fortress Number 7. Fortresses Number 7, Number 8, and Number 9 formed a triangle, serving as the most important strongholds for the human race in the second layer of the Vermilion Bird battlefield. As soon as Lin Moyu arrived at the teleportation array, before he could head to the outpost base, a hand pulled him out of the teleportation array. 1,270.